The forecast said that there'd be snowflakes. Whoa, you can make us see it your way. No way, gasoline and propane, more flames. Oh no, no more snowflakes.
We can all get along, but there's no stopping. Ay, everybody's wrong, that's the real problem. Ay, they don't want to hear it, but they still talking. Ay, soon enough, we running out of options. Ay, this ain't gonna end till it's in the coffin. Ay, we ain't gonna be friends till we try to squash it. Ay, I don't know how we can make amends or we drop it. Snowflakes melt when it's hot, kid.
Y'all are so fake. Oh no, the forecast said that there'd be snowflakes. Whoa, you can make us see it your way. No way, gasoline and propane, more flames. Oh no, no more snowflakes.
All right. It is the 50th video from HeartMind Expressions and the Fab Four, or what where we started out as Alex 2 and Sue.
Yeah.
How fun. And
I love that title.
I noticed there was actually a note here from Katie. Would you go ahead and pull up the link on her post? I'd like to share that for her.
Yeah.
So a few shout outs and plugs while Sue's finding that. Of course, we always love to thank our awesome sponsors, those that are there for us, that have helped out and reached out so many times. Soma Fusion Media. We love Katie Kamara. She does so much work for us. And of course, iEvolveTV. And we've got C403C Radio Network, which I wish we could tell Steve-O, Captain Steve-O, hi and thanks so much, because if it wasn't
Million thanks to Steve-O. If it wasn't for him,
we wouldn't be here. And so our hearts are with him. For those that are new to the show, he did pass away about 8 weeks ago. And so totally, we love him. We miss him. We know he's in a better place, and he's probably out there going, yeah, dude, whoa. And then what he would say, of course, I love you, fuckers. I love you, Steve-O. You're one of my favorite assholes. That is our shout out for Steve. And then, of course, what is it? I guess that was C4OC Radio Network. That's one in LA. Rev Radio Las Vegas is the one that Steve-O did. And so Sue had a fun idea for our 50th episode, and I'll go ahead and let you run with it, and let's rock and roll, babe.
me. Who's the oldest in the room?
Probably you right now, honey.
Oh, yeah.
1975. I'm in 1976. You're a rabbit. I forgot what year. I know I'm
Rabbit,
a fire
right?
dragon. And then were you a water or an earth rooster? I'm trying to
Water
remember.
Rooster, 93.
Water. Okay.
I'm a baby. I'm the baby of the group.
And then, there you
Yeah.
go. Ooh.
Ooh.
I love that. Fire tigers are fierce and amazing. I love the strength in the tigers.
Yeah.
And Alex
They
Bloom is
kind of
also
have
a
a
rooster.
writing, don't mess with me.
You know, I love it. I've got several friends that are tigers, so that's cool. No wonder we get along so well. It's awesome.
Uh-oh.
That'll be like very
Oh, look
balancing
out,
for
Katie.
you.
Yeah.
Really
Look out.
balancing.
We're gonna hear her growl and roar at the same time by then, right?
Love it. Because it's the eye of a tiger, a fighter. How is it? I'm an eye of a tiger. You got a little Katy Perry going on. Shoot.
Last time I checked, that song was done by a male voice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we
Was
could
it-
actually.
It was a high tenor. It was actually more of a high tenor, but anyways. Tenor and falsetto.
Very interesting.
I'm sorry. I'm a geek. I need choir. I know those things.
Oh, shoot. It's all good. We love geeking out. If it wasn't on the video, we were rocking out to our starting theme song. It was kind of fun.
I mean, we should
I
do
mean, I was
fun
looking the
facts
whole
for each
thing.
other.
Heck yeah, man.
You know, what do you guys think about that? We do fun facts on each other. Like fun
Oh,
fact, I was
there we
born in
go.
South Korea. I was born in South Korea, hence the accent. Not Southern United States, Southern Korea.
You do so amazing on that Korean accent. It's
I
gorgeous.
know, it's wonderful.
Gorgeous.
And then let's see here. I went through 4 last names. Some people actually think I was in a witness protection program. Let's see.
crap.
My first last name was Kim. Then I went to Davy. Then I went to Aaron's, and now McClure. I'm doing really good. I'm just going through the last names there.
Nice. That's awesome.
Let's see. What is it? I'm 4'7.5". That means I have to look up to tie my shoes, and I can hang glide a Dorito. No problem.
You know, I don't mess with the little people because I know that you can totally kick my ass and hand it to me. So I'm just like, respect, yo.
Yeah, well, that's because I can bite your ankle.
I know. I don't want to thought. I already know what pain is for those that know.
Just kidding.
I
I'm
broke
kidding.
my toe,
Yeah.
my pinky toe.
All the piggies went to market, huh?
All my
And
piggies.
he came back with a pinky toe on a stretcher.
Or it could be like a pinky toe on a stick. I do like Jeff Dunham, obviously.
Well, you wrapped it up, and now we call it a pigs in a blanket, right?
Pigs in the blanket. Yep.
God damn it! I was just about to say that.
We minds think alike.
Oh shoot. We love to definitely laugh a lot. That's one thing that I love about you guys. Just meeting up, and then because I guess we started around the meme gods before meme gods were basically deleted and banned off of Facebook.
Yeah. Well, actually, fun fact: our show actually started out on November the 16th, so the day before the 17th, which is kind of
before Q
interesting.
Day.
Yeah, right. The day before Q Day is when we started, and here we are having our last show of the year. Q Days, guys. This is our last episode of the year.
That's so cool.
After this, we'll meet up again in 2022, probably stone drunk and everything else, right?
I already had enough sangria. I probably had enough sangria this year to. Long story.
Okay, you brought it up. Now you gotta tell it.
Yeah.
Long story. It has to do with this, but
Of course. Well, you got to show your shirt off. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so excited you got it.
Grand new party. It says grand new party has a nice, Old Glory on their side. Because we love. I love my home. I love my country, and I love the people who are part of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're grateful for what you do in your area, just with politics as well, because your phenomenal knowledge base is it blows my mind. Every time we talk, I love your facts. That's one thing that really got me to say, yes, you're going to be on my show, because holy crap, you're a genius when it comes to facts like that. And, people need to know. People don't get the opportunity to have the connection that you do with those kind of facts, to be able to bring the past to the present right now and say, whoa, this is what's going on. And we're going to educate how and why. And that's amazing. I love that you can do that.
So the way I've kind of explained this to a lot of people is when it comes to a lot of the political aspect of a lot of things, they're always like in this ivory tower, this elitist kind of way, and they're in this whole bunch of legal mumbo jumbo, if you will. And so what I've kind of tried to do with a lot of these things is try to make it almost like a dummy's guide. This is what this is what they're telling you. This is what it actually just means. It means it's like, oh, we're gonna do this and this. I'm like they're just saying F you at this point. Or something like that. They're like, oh, we're going to make a committee to deal with the validity of the accusation that that's put forward. They're like, oh, we're just gonna BS for 5 weeks and you're gonna pay for it.
Shoot. But you definitely, I love the twist that you bring to that. That's so cool.
Really. So Amária, what is a fun fact about you? Give me a fun fact.
Oh boy,
not
am I just
everybody
a
knows.
ball full of interesting facts. What's that?
Yeah,
I know,
definitely.
Right? I feel like I'm a walking pile of lifetimes here, just between my my life here, I mean, studying pre-medicine growing up, as well as music and Spanish, and then memories basically of re-evolving from the SSP and underground bases and having congruent memories with people and military labs, or what do they call it? Military abductions, I guess, in mil labs. God, I mean, it's like, where do you start? Right now, I'm really digging in with my partner with music. It's really fun. We're doing some music recordings. We're collabing on writing some stuff. So it's really exciting, kind of fun. We're doing it a song at a time.
Amária, should I get a signature? Should I get an autograph now or after you're famous?
Or infamous in a way.
What was that? What was the saying that you live long enough to be the hero, or you die being a hero, or you live long enough to become the villain?
Well, you know, I do have that dragon
ideas.
side of
Hey, Katie, what's a fun fact about you?
You are.
Hey,
I love everything about you, darling.
They're all fun.
How about I pull out a childhood memory?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what one of the things that we think is so fucking fabulous about you, darling. I love it.
And of all the Aussies I've met, you're one of the best.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I second that.
Totally kick ass, yo.
What about you, Alex?
What about me?
Fun fact. You got one fun fact about
What about you?
Come on.
Fun fact about me. I take pleasure by making large tabs of search engines. I guess it's probably. I don't. I read. I have this unquenchable desire for learning and reading and understanding and comprehending, and so one of my favorite things is to use my is to go on DuckDuckGo and just start tabbing things. I'll have like 10 tabs open at one time. I'm like, this is one thing that's in like the dictionary, another thing in encyclopedia, one's in like a public records area, another thing's in media, another one's in like a video game wiki, and I'm like, okay, I'm reading every single one. Oh, look at that. And then I'll open another tab. Before you know it, I have like 15 tabs open. I'm like, okay, I'm not dealing with that. I'll bookmark all you guys, and I'll just bookmark all of them, and then I'll just like, okay, another 10 tabs open now.
You don't just have rabbit holes; you have squirrel, squirrel, squirrel.
Well,
Love
you know,
he's good at taking
up,
a shovel and digging what goes on in the world.
That's what happens when you were growing up as a person with ADHD and dysgraphia. Is you're terrible at writing, but you're fantastic at reading, and you also have a very, very short attention span.
So you get a
so
lot
each
of
tab represents your attention span then, right?
Yeah, so it just one of those things where I just started gathering this nice cornucopia or plethora of just useless information, and then I'm like, well, let's make this useful. Let's see what happens when I go into the useful category and see what I can find there. Which has been wonderful, because when I'm talking to Katie or Dr. Bloom, I'll be like, I learned about this. Can you let me know from a professional or from something that you guys are familiar with, and verify if this information is accurate, or how can I actually make sense of this, because I'm stupid in some cases.
Oh,
I think we all have those moments when we feel inadequate, but you're definitely not stupid. You're definitely very intelligent.
I never said
a long shot.
Oh,
do you actually have a fond childhood memory, Katie? Yeah.
Oh, I love camping.
I got a great camping story.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh,
wow.
Hey, girl.
You're not supposed to use your body to test to see if gravity works.
Or how far can a thorn go up in my bum at this speed?
Oh my God.
Oh, oh,
Wow.
oh.
That hurts just hearing that.
Oh,
Can I
wow.
speak freely?
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow. That's awful.
Me being a guy, the first thing I heard when you went this big, I'm like, kinky.
Oh, right,
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, that would have been a very yikes with your head.
Ugh.
Oh, camping. God, we've had
I
some.
love camping. I love camping.
I used to do winter camping when I was Mormon. We were out in Kansas, in Leavenworth, and there was a farmer that had a field that let us go out. Excuse me. There's about 3 feet of snow, and we had to dig down and mark where our tents were. We dug each tent out, or basically where we'd put the tent to the ground, and then put the tent. So it was cool because the tents were looked like they were buried, and then we made trails from each tent to a central area where we built a fire, and then out to the latrine. It was a challenge, but it taught me a lot. I've camped a lot in the wintertime. The coldest I've ever slept in a sleeping bag. It was in my car in Park City. And it was 8 degrees.
Wow.
And it was hot. I was really sweaty. So I've really learned how to do the winter thing. What's your fun fact? Really?
So what was it like then when you first saw it?
Makes sense. Now that I'm thinking about that, makes sense.
Yeah. So what was snow like to you when you first saw it? Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
So what'd you think of it?
I had to learn how to.
Like a
Was
new
snow
toy.
exactly what you thought it was going to be before you went into it for the first time? Was exactly what you thought it was going to be? Or was there, okay, I was just wondering.
Oh, that's the worst.
I
I'm feeling
actually have a question for you, Katie. How was it when you had to deal with seasons? How they were different in different parts of the month? Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Wow.
It's more here. Oh, I would do it too.
Yeah. You're not used to it. Definitely. Yeah. So,
So
yeah.
you need me to explain that story I was saying before about the I mentioned sangria. I can tell you that story real quickly.
Yeah, do it.
Go for it.
So this jacket actually has a connection to that, which happened last night. Always lovely when you say, "Well, I had a story last night," and there's like a long, anyways. What happened? I went to a Christmas party, or what they call a holiday party, and it was with all the people within the Republican Party within town, and a lot of these people are old, and so it was not a very eventful event there for a while until at the end when everyone was cleaning up. So all of us who actually kind of were doing things, we got into a nice corner of the banquet hall that we were in, and we were just sitting around sipping sangria the entire time because the restaurant we were in was a Portuguese restaurant, and they have a signature sangria that they just put in pitchers right on the table. You can sip it right then and there. Where you're
Nice.
By the time we were finished with this thing, we had like 7 pitchers on the table, and it wasn't just it was and all of us were just sipping. I was the one who was not drinking most because I had stuff when the party was actually happening, just because I'm like, I need to entertain myself somehow. I was talking to one of the other people at my table. We were just talking about aircrafts because the gentleman I was with, he's a Air Force instructor, and so he was talking about how there's a lot of misnomers when it comes to flying. Like for instance, you have seconds to react if something were to happen, or you got to be careful with icing, or it seems this long conversation about different things, and that was all I was doing for that party until at the end. I was actually able to talk to people I liked and enjoyed because we had assigned seats. I was in the back corner. I was not talking to anybody I really knew. And then I got this shirt because this group of people I've been associated with for the last few months. And that's that story. Nothing too crazy.
Sounds like you had fun though. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I
know you love meeting new people.
I like meeting new people. I'm not very good in public.
You're getting there. I think you'd do great.
I am. Now I'm getting flustered now that you guys mentioned that stuff.
While we're into a little bit of what would you say, vulnerability, I've always had kind of a stage fright. And one of the things I'm grateful that Captain Steve-O helped me with in starting to do radio and everything, just getting back into the public eye, was because I was actually agoraphobic about 6 years ago, somewhere in there. I'd have to look at the calendar, but I mean, I didn't want to leave the house. I didn't like being around people. I was nervous when I would go to the store. I just wanted to get in and out. I had stopped connecting with people. And so it was a real fear of mine. And I met Captain Steve-O at the Raid Area 51 thing. I remember that in 2019. We were at Area 51 at Spicer Ranch. It's kind of like the back door of Area 51. And there was about 20 something of us that were camping, and we did a bunch of spiritual things, some prayer, and I had taken a bunch of my regalia and did some sage, and we closed some portal energy and opened up another one that was just really bringing in a lot of love energy. And I had done some tarot readings at this get together because we had a little table that we were basically talking, and Steve-O and oh shoot, my brain is farting again on this Rev Radio. They broke up for a while. God, his name will come to me anyway. I'm so sorry. But they decided, hey, we're gonna put you on our show. Is that cool? And I'm like, yeah, sure. He's like, I want you to do a reading on me. And I was kind of nervous, but I thought, okay, I'm just gonna pretend like I'm only looking at him. I'm just gonna ignore that fucking camera. And I just got into my zone and started reading him. And that's where we had really connected as friends. And he said that I had said things to him about himself that just really made him go, holy cow, this stuff is real. This is legit. She's like not just some frou-frou thing. And he does a heavy metal show, or he did a heavy metal show. Like they play local bands and with heavy metal and rock and stuff. And every Monday he did this from the captain's chair, where he would talk about stuff that he did in the Army, basically encouraging people to, rise up to their best and how to overcome PTSD and different things, just beautiful stuff. And he said, I would love to have you as a part of my radio show and to do something positive. He's like, you showed me something with your readings. He's like, I was so skeptical on psychic stuff, and he's like, you were spot on, and it changed my life. I want to help you. I know that you had mentioned that you had been in acting and different things, and I was like, yeah, I do want to get back into that and music and everything, and just really, really helped me through that into the dark night of the soul in discovering myself again. And so that's really a gratitude of mine that Captain Steve-O gave to really help me step up to the plate and find myself more, I guess, in another level. Gave me a chance, which I really appreciate.
That is awesome.
I know that.
Yeah, you and I both been in show business. You grew up. I grew up more on stage instead of in front of the camera, but I've been on stage.
Oh yeah, I love Broadway stuff.
I started with violin, playing Suzuki, and then I went into Irish dancing, and my violin kind of switched to the term fiddle, and then went into Irish music and everything. I went all the way till I was like 17 years old, if you can believe that number there. So
I'm gonna have to steal you on fiddle sometime, yo.
Oh no, don't fiddle with me too much.
Oh,
But
shoot.
we're talking about video and shows like this because I've actually done. I was doing a live Facebook Live series. If you guys remember, for a while there, and still doing it from time to time. It was called Contemptible Thoughts. But before I did that, I actually had another concept. When I was, I must have been like, what, 20? When I was much younger, much less wise about things, and it was called the Encounter of the Millennial Kind.
Nice.
And my original concept was for that particular thing was to dispel a lot of the old wives' tales about what it meant to be a millennial. Because there's like, oh, if you're a Gen Xer, these are the things you are, or if you're if you're Generation Z, these are the things you are. And I'm like, a lot of these things, they're true to a point. There are certain things that need to be explained in order to things to make sense, and they can't be just explained in an abstract way. And so that went into Contemptible Thoughts, where I'm just going to be sarcastic, while at the same time talking about the way society is the way it is. And then it became, I'm actually making this, it was more of a, let's destroy the system. And now it's just like, let's just understand this now. It actually makes sense of it.
That's really cool.
And then I ran into you guys, or as I like to call everything I do, I just kind of stumble into things. I don't intentionally have these things happen, but they just kind of happen. I guess the universe works in mysterious ways for some reason. It's brought me here.
We were all being prepped.
There's something there.
Right. Well, and then we had made the game night too, which I think really brought all of us closer. Just doing games and getting together every week.
Sue and I are in a separate chat besides that one, and I remember when we started doing game night. Wasn't a very big social person. I didn't like talking to people too much. I was kind of kept it to myself. I still am relatively isolationist in a lot of things. But Stu goes to me, he's like, "You should join us. You should join us. You should join us. You should join us. It'll be
Twisting
fun."
your arm was really hard. It actually had to take 2 of my hands to do it.
For probably like a week. Just like,
Oh, nice. Well, I'm glad that you came on.
It's like, and I'm like, okay, I'm here. I don't know how I'm gonna like it because, as you know, a lot of people are in an unfamiliar scenario. They get all anxious ahead of time. So the rest, as you say, the rest is history.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, for those who don't actually know, that next year will be actually my 5th year in radio.
That's so cool.
I actually coincidentally stumbled into it after. Yeah, I was on a previous network. I became the station manager, and became the backbone of that network. Left that in 2019. 2 years later. First, I actually started out as a moderator, but in 2017, I got offered my own show with my ex-husband, obviously, and we started out doing a show that was, I think it was at 4 o'clock in the morning, and we were talking about ghost stories and all sorts of stuff, and somehow we became popular, and 2 years later. And
it's funny because I had seen some of you guys' stuff.
It was really good.
Several months before, and it didn't really click until somehow when we came together. And I guess I was like on a phone call with Daryl, and then you, and I was like, wait, what? Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, sure. The original show that we have, I think the archives are still up there, but I'm pretty sure that they are. But it was called The Encounters with the Neelys. And then of course I was prompted, because I was doing a whole heap of studies, I was prompted into doing my own show, thus forming Soma Fusion Radio. And so I have done, now to count, go back a little bit, I've actually produced over 35 shows. I have.
What's some of the big names that you've done? Because I know you've done some really cool names.
I've done Heather Wade. I've also done Brad Olson. I've also done, who else have I done? Dr. J.
Oh yeah.
I used to be his producer as well, for about a year, I think. So Heather Wade, I don't know if you know her. She is the protege of Art Bell.
Oh nice.
So yeah, I was up in that realm for a little bit. I have done so many interviews like you wouldn't believe with so many high profile people.
That's so fun.
I've done shows, 50 shows of my own shows. I mean, my 2 year anniversary just happened a couple of months ago. I used to manage back with the old network. I used to manage 48 people in two 24/7 radio network, two
Wow.
24/7 studios.
That's a lot of work.
Simultaneously.
Yeah.
And here I am running my own. So
Yes, you are. You are a badass
this
girl.
is
I
Awesome.
really
nothing.
respect
Absolutely
and look up
awesome.
to you a
You know,
lot.
this
You've
is
been through a
Yeah.
lot.
yeah. I mean, over the last 2 years, I kind of just umped myself in doing, because I'm one of those people that just want to try
Oh yeah.
everything. Everything once, and if I don't like it, I don't like it. If I do, I'll just continue on with it. Like, it doesn't
Right.
really bother me.
That-
But
That's when I first met you. Actually, I think that was the first time I met you when Amária actually invited me over to do a show. When Daryl was doing a show once, and she's like, "Oh, you should join me for the thing." And then I know you were over there. Ironically, it happens to be the day that a lot of us know as an infamous day, which was the 6th of January 2021, with all the hysteria over there. That was the day the reason I was invited to come in the first place, because we were talking about the electoral college and how it's supposed to work. I would not expect everything that happened that day, and I'm like, now I'm going to be stuck here talking about this stuff, waiting for this, because I was only supposed to be there for an hour. I was not even supposed to be there for like the 5 hours I was there. I was supposed to be there from noon, and I think actually 1:30, 2 o'clock, because that's when they were supposed to do everything, with 1 o'clock or so. I had to wait until almost 2 a.m. to really talk about things, and that's when they actually did everything.
Right.
And Amária came to me shortly afterwards. It's like, "Oh, Katie's making her own network with Soma Fusion, so I'd like for you to join us."
Well, see, those who
Yeah.
actually don't know what Soma Fusion Media is, I actually started that in May 2019. May 2019. I wanted to progress on my education. I wanted to start a business and so on and so forth, and offer back because I dedicated myself to humanity when I was 17 years old, so I've always wanted to give back. I've gone through a very, very traumatic past as a 29-year survivor of domestic violence, child abuse, sex abuse, and human trafficking, slave labor, and servitude. So, been there, done that.
And got the T-shirt and the website.
And that's exactly right, and that's why I do advocate a lot for.
And that's what makes you an
trauma
awesome
recovery.
toughie for doing all of that and going through all that. And the nice thing about it is when we go through these dark times in our life, it is what we become afterwards. Do we
That's
try to become
exactly
helpful
right.
and good and try to help the world, or we become dark and bitter? I mean, all of us had stuff happen to us, and we chose to rise above it. And that's,
Part of what inspires me about you,
Yeah.
Sue, is that you rise above what some people would call handicaps, having some vision and hearing issues. And you've not let that even be a thing. It's like a fart in the wind.
yeah,
It's gone.
exactly.
And you just rock and roll.
I don't
with
see it as
I
a
love
disability because I mean, nothing that you have in your life, and I've seen so many people even have more handicap than I do, and I'm amazed when they just decided not to let it bother them. They just find a way to make it work, and that's the whole thing about disability. There is no such thing as a disability.
Right.
It's the attitude behind it.
Hell,
Exactly.
And so,
see
that's
what most people don't realize about me is that yes, I'm talking, but no, you will not realize that I do have a disability, and that disability is that I have a bilateral sensorineural hearing loss, and I'm
Interesting.
and so I have a moderate to severe hearing loss. In other words, Someone of my deafness should not be able to speak normally or articulate words like I can, and yet here
That's
I am.
amazing.
Yeah,
I
and we both
refu-
have that.
you know,
I have severe to complete, nearly complete hearing loss, and both Katie and we both wear hearing aids. You
mhm.
know, I'm actually deaf on my right ear. I'm just about completely deaf on it, and then on my left ear I have 20% hearing, but that's with the hearing aid.
Yeah.
So, and my visual impairment, I have LP, which stands for light perception. I only have light perception on my left eye. And then on my right eye, it's completely black except for a pinhole around the 1 o'clock area. And that's all I can see out of.
Mhm.
So I use a white cane. So to get around and stuff. And same thing, I had to learn how to talk. And here's the other thing, I had to learn how to speak English. And I had to first realize that there was two languages sitting in front of me. So when I first came to America, I thought
Aw.
I was continuing the language that I was on. I didn't know that I was in a new place learning a separate language. So I was mixing Korean and English together at first. You know,
Aw. I'm sure
so
that was quite traumatic at
yeah,
first too, being that confused. Oh,
well, word pronunciation. I thought, why is he said a word pronounced a certain way, and then he said a word
Yeah,
pronounced a certain way,
and you
and
know
I was
what?
mm-hmm.
getting a lot of pronunciation wrong because I was hearing them wrong. And to
It's
this day,
Aw.
I still get a lot of words wrong.
yeah,
That's
and
why I put your names up
it is even
very
worse
easily.
when you can't hear them in the beginning.
You do great,
Like,
Sue. I've been
And
really
and it's
just
really
blown away by
amazing
you.
because you really can't hear those words that you really need to hear in order to understand them and then
Right.
articulate them so that you can
Yeah.
actually speak proper English. When I
You
came over to the
both do
United States,
amazing.
you know, I mean, when I was 17 years old, I was going around teaching deaf and hearing impaired teachers, actual
Aw,
special education teachers, how to teach deaf and hearing impaired students
that's so
the
cool.
correct way. I'd already learned how to lip read. They didn't even find out that I was even hearing impaired until I was what four and a half years old.
Wow, that's
And
amazing.
so I have now, I
Yeah,
mean, all my audiology tests, I astound my audiologists who do my tests every so often. And they turn around and say to me, "Oh, your hearing is improved." No, 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 my hearing is not improved. It's my listening skills. And that because
Yeah.
I am an observer, I am a listener, so therefore I pick up more sounds than I can let myself on
That's
to hear.
awesome.
But I will tell
just-
you a funny story though. For those who did bully me, because I refused, I always sat at the front of the class. I became the teacher's pet, obviously. Uh,
I know the
Right.
feeling.
yeah, but I refused to put myself into special education. Really did not like that one little bit. I was just an inquisitive child. But I will say that those who did bully me because I had something in my ears in my younger years, I turned around. I used to specifically tell them that I had either a watch on or something like that, and I was the security for something. I'll be working for the FBI.
Ah, I love that. I love
So
that.
I used to do that a
I
lot
grew
to
up
cover
in the
myself.
LD class, and so I think I did it till fifth or sixth grade. I finally just threw a fit and said I don't want to do this anymore. But yeah, we were leaving school every day. I don't think we were doing special ed.
I didn't like
Yeah.
special ed. There was too much babying involved.
No,
Right.
there is because
Well,
they.
we would go to school and then like do our opening exercises, like say the pledge, and we even at the time would do the 23rd Psalm when they were still doing Bible verses at school. And then
Really?
we would go to the LD
Wow.
class. I was in Texas and Fort Sam Houston over by San Antonio. Or I guess it's San Antonio school. And every day after we went to LD, we would do like some flashcards for a little bit and talk about some stuff. Sorry, buddy. And then we would either get into one of those big white vans that's made like a bus with the benches in it, or the short bus, the school bus, and we would go places and like underground bases. And there's like a mall that had a train station thing that I remember. And then we went to a observatory a lot. Excuse me. But we were doing a lot of weird things, just these military things that I thought that was just normal things. We left every day, so we didn't think to even talk to my parents about it. I just figured you go to school for a little while, you leave, you do all this stuff, and you come back. So weird.
I was I was actually classified all the way up into college personally, for special ed.
Yeah.
Like I said, I deal with like I said, dysgraphia, and dysgraphia, ADHD, pica. I could explain pica. That's actually kind of interesting. But yeah, I would have to basically dysgraphia is the inability to put mind to paper, or the difficulty of doing so. Essentially, when you see me write, it's chicken scratch.
Interesting.
Or if I could, or how the stereotype of how a doctor writes your prescription.
Yeah. I get the ADD thing because that and the dyslexia, but I'm thinking because I missed so much school is why I struggled, because I didn't read very well up till high school, and I got a good teacher, and just understanding, comprehending things, I just didn't get it. I didn't get math, just didn't make sense. And then when I learned it, I was like, oh, that's not as bad as I thought.
That's how we help each other through a community, because I have trouble reading things and comprehending what I'm reading. That's why I always have to go over to Alex and say, can you help me make sense of this? Because Alex has a good
it's kind of fun because she'll be like, oh, I need to understand this concept. Can you explain it to me a little bit? Like, there was one we were talking about, I think we were talking about the term anti-disestablishmentarianism. I think was the term.
Yeah.
And I had to explain to her the way I was explaining it. It was a policy that was done in England about the Church of England during the time of Henry VIII, and it's the anti-establishmentarian. It's like how you deal with how the Anglican Church dealt with the Catholic Church of Rome, and how they didn't want to associate with one another. And they became like one of these long words that everyone in elementary school liked talking about because it was a long word.
And I thought a long word back then was pneumono ultramicroscopic coniosis, which is a lung disease caused by silicone dust. Anyway.
I think my favorite long word to talk about, or long name, besides going into words that are in Georgian, the country, not the state, or German words, which have a habit of just making massive compound words just because they can. Like a German word, like we'll say like a blue airplane that lands on the airport, and this is the pilot that is in the blue airplane in the airport, right? That's a sentence right there.
Yes,
In
but
German,
but why does every German word sound like you're spitting?
I guess it's similar to how a lot of the Semitic languages sound very nasally too, kind of like that.
A lot of
I thought it was
Latino
all that
sounds.
time they were choking on their sausages and beer. I'm sorry, all this time I had it wrong. My bad.
Oh, if you want sausages and beer, you would probably go to Austria or Czechia.
Or Bavaria, right?
But when it came to a name, I think one of my favorite names was the Hawaiian state dish, I believe, and it's called the Huma Huma Puka Puka A'a.
Holy cow! I like that. Huma huma puka.
It's a relative
Can you
of
do
the
that 3 times fast?
Silly vowels.
Did we go back to primitive language again? Because I think we're going.
You know, speaking of,
Hold on, let me play my armpit.
Man.
Isn't it interesting that when we deal with like cartography and hieroglyphics and cuneiform and stuff like that, it's pictures, right? It's pictures to describe something. And now we have emojis, which is the exact same thing.
We had to go back to those times. I mean,
Yeah.
made sense.
This is a cow.
The modern hieroglyphs.
And now
There
we
you
have
go.
a emoji for a cow.
That's
Again.
like, yeah, but that's like
What?
coming up with new words like Mimi. What the hell is a Mimi? Meme.
Mimi, right? I remember when I first saw memes, I was like, Mimi, what the fuck is that?
I remember the argument about how you pronounce GIF a while ago.
Yeah, Jif.
Oh,
Jif.
GIF or Jif. I was like, who says Jif? That's peanut butter.
Well, hey, if you're in another part of the world, it's a cleaning product.
Or how and then when someone mentioned GIF, all of a sudden we're like, no, it's Jiffy. That's a Mandela effect issue right there.
Oh, right, and I do remember both. There's been several Mandela effects that I finally discussed with my sister and mom.
Of these things, which is I'm a rabbit hole dumpster diver, if you will.
Yeah.
I just like go.
You have never been to the bottom of it yet, have you, Alex?
You know what's funny? There's actually a very interesting analogy I like to about this when it comes to these rabbit holes. It's one of those things where you, when you're hitting, it's like you're digging, right? And you finally think you've hit the bottom of the cavern, right? You start hitting with the shovel, and the cave breaks open, and you fall to the ceiling, and then you start doing it. Fall into another cavern, then you fall into another cavern, then you fall into another. Like it was like it's like a Looney Tunes cartoon where you're going boom, 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 boom. Like,
and you know what's
I've had those.
And you know what's really funny though is that every time we have a show or the pre-show, what our audience really doesn't know about is that our conversations end up being about dumpsters, shit, or sex.
Yeah, well, you gotta have good sex in your life. I mean,
Well, all of them together, right? You shouldn't have sex in it. I mean,
nobody wants shitty sex in a dumpster.
actually, when it came to memes, though, actually, Dr. Alex Bloom taught me what memes were. I've never heard of memes. And then when he started introducing me to them, and then other people started showing me, there was a girl named Brenda. She taught me about memes as well, and I said, okay, this sounds fun. And then I started, because I sort of have an art background, a little bit of computer background into it, just a little bit, you know, tiny when the mouses were tiny, I work with them. But anyway, you know, I decided to give it a shot. So memes are actually fun. And I got the point of how to do memes and be able to take it and sometimes get political or spiritual with it.
You've done a really good job on memes, meme goddess.
It's hilarious. You can do both.
Yeah.
It's like
it brings out the sarcasm in me.
Right.
It's basically
what's that?
You know, the way I see memes is just a way to get out there somehow in a sarcastic way of what you're really thinking. Because we don't want to say that in the open because it will get us in trouble.
Yeah.
Seems like people respond to them a lot better. I mean, it's just a fast in your face. You see it and you know what it means right then, rather than having to go through a bunch of shit. Or if you see it and you don't get it, you can find out very quickly.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do with memes is meme bomb. Like I'll find a meme that was done by Bloom, or I'll do one by Sue or somebody else, and I'll just be scrolling through like social media or something else and be like, I think I can use that meme there. Post. There's the meme right there.
Yeah.
This is how we're
I have a few of those.
They get pretty relevant.
Oh, they get very relevant.
I've got to have my shit posting memes.
Yeah.
My favorite memes to deal with are the ones that have to do with logical fallacies.
Yeah.
Those are good.
It's they're like you'll have people like arguing, and I'm like, you're straw manning right there. Oh no, that's an ad hominem right there. That you're just trying to create a circular logic right there. And I'm just like, and there's a website where they've actually made infographics of these types of logical fallacies, and I'm just like, I'm going to snatch these up and just go boom.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And then they start getting.
Yeah, and then my favorite ones lately have been the ones of this person that's been drawing the cartoon with the using a very bold markers and bold colors.
Oh yeah.
And they've been doing these people graphics back and forth, and most of them has been about you know, the face diapers or the ouchie and stuff like that. And lately we've been putting those out. So.
Well,
Very
that's
cool.
see those little comic strips that we used to have back in the what was it, the 80s, 90s?
Right.
Yeah, they're the original memes.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Especially the political ones. I used to go to the back of the newspaper when they used to be in the newspaper. Does
I just love
anybody
the
even get a
comics.
newspaper
That's why I
anymore?
love
My
memes so
favorite
much. Now
section.
I
I love
know.
the-
Thanks so much for just reminding me, girl.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
That was my favorite part.
The nice thing about memes is it really cuts through a lot of the explanation of a lot of things. It's there. It just explains it in very plain language what something is, and it's where a lot of things I think are kind of lost within translation of what you're trying to explain it. And if you're passionate about something, you're gonna maybe make it have a little bit more of a bias. A meme will, in some cases, get rid of the personal bias of things and will actually explain it in a much more, not less opinionated. I think probably be best.
That's
Yeah.
a good way to put it.
Yes, a good way to put it.
Mhm.
Yeah, you know, and both of us, all of us have dealt with try to some form of relationships with people, trying to get messages out to other people about what needs to be said and stuff. And a lot of times we've been posting all sorts of things all over between Twitter and Facebook. I'm actually newer to Twitter than I am to Facebook. I've had Facebook for years, but and I actually started, believe it or not, with MySpace when that was out.
I remember
That's when I started. And
Yep.
fun fact, I am the first burp bubble. So if you guys see the name burp bubbles floating around, I'm actually the very first burp bubbles. I came up with that name way back in
Y'all should look
late
me
90s.
up. Y'all should look me up because I think my name on MySpace was Fight the War in Poverty.
Oh, that's cool. I'm wondering if mine is, because mine used to be BEAUTI, beauty with an I and then one at the end was one of my call handles besides Rogue Dragon.
Fast fact: I've never had a MySpace.
Really?
I was
He's
too
the
young.
baby of the group. Yeah,
I was too young.
Yeah.
I was 18 when I started when I started Facebook. That was back in 2011.
Wow.
Yeah.
And here's another interesting one. I still have my original account that I've had all those years. I still have my original.
Wow.
So do I, actually, from 2007. And another interesting fact: you're young enough to be with all of our son, pretty much, aren't you?
No
you know
comment.
what though? Speaking of that though, it's just kind of interesting. I remember there was some ignorant people that actually said, "Well, I don't think blind people should be in a relationship. I mean, if you can't see, how can you guys have sex?" And I'm going, "Well, sighted people have it done with the lights off." Mind blown.
I was just about to say that.
I know, right? Like, you don't have to see anything.
Yeah.
Not that I. Not,
I mean,
not
I
that
can't
have
say
any-
anything to people. I mean, I can't say stuff. Well, from the looks of it, nobody's missing much.
See,
I mean, you know.
Oh, God.
You
Oh,
know,
no.
say that,
I
though.
don't-
Girl,
There's,
see
I
now.
definitely
now it
love
removes,
getting mine.
it removes the need
I-
for. It removes the need for a paper bag.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, I went there.
Oh, shit.
I'm familiar with many things. This is one of the few things I do not have any
Aw.
actual
Aw.
knowledge of.
Because you're such a gentleman. You're
Yeah.
definitely a gentleman. You know, that's so rare these days to have somebody that's truly, you know, knowing their standards, and that's really awesome. That's really highly commendable.
It's a dying breed these days, unfortunately.
It is, unfortunately. Yeah.
Especially really, really nice guys that aren't shallow, dumbass jerks. That
That
seems like the gene pool.
I'm
is
not telling you
leading-
that.
That almost
I don't
sounded
think
like
Chlorine.
a cool passive aggressive failed
Oh,
comment.
shoot. And it does go both genders, or any gender
Yeah.
selection. I mean, anybody could be a twit. But I've had my
Oh,
share
that's
of dating a few of those, and I feel really grateful that
Mark,
this partner
I'm-
is
yeah.
an amazing person.
I'm
really
grateful.
is.
I've been married twice. I was divorced from a complete guy that if you really want to look up the word asshole, his picture would be right in the dictionary.
everyone
But
say that.
you know, but this husband and current husband I have is absolutely wonderful. We've actually
Aw.
been married for 10 years, so we haven't killed each other yet. So it
Oh,
looks like
God.
it's doing good. So he's awesome, though. He's awesome. And I made it. I've actually made it because a lot of people thought that disabled people cannot, get married. If you have all these disabilities, no man would want you.
Right.
And I said, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Got
So
married. You have kids. That's awesome.
Well, that's what
pretty
a lot of
amazing.
people were afraid of. They were afraid that if I had children, I'd be putting more disability into the world. But here's a fun fact. Actually, my disability is not hereditary. It was just due to they suspected that my
Thank
birth mother
you.
had pneumonia
Thank
while
you.
she was carrying me. So that's where all the defects, birth defects. and
There's
stuff is
so
from.
many things that could cause
Yeah.
defects. So yeah.
So it's not always hereditary.
You mean,
I know,
you mean I
they-
can't
they
just build a
keep-
Punnett square and figure these things out?
Yeah, but you see-
Sometimes. Oh, come on. They're taking the fun out of it there.
Yeah, but you see, they keep testing my children, thinking
Or
it's
maybe you're
hereditary.
making it fun. I mean, shit, I do like a good fun at square now and again. What can we get in this one?
Yeah, let's go there.
Oh, I mentioned something witty, and then somebody has to. This is where I make the comment. If I'm in a 2-person sniper team, I'm the guy lining up the shot, not pulling the trigger.
But remember,
why I
there's
love
somebody
you
on
so
your
much.
receiving
You
end
have the two
could duck.
guys. You have the one guy with the sniper rifle. He's kind of like that. I'm the guy next to him who has the humongous binocular. He's like, okay, go 2 feet. Worry about the rotational force of gravity. Okay, there you go. And he's like, okay. I'm that guy.
Sue
I'm
would
the guy next
Sue
to
would
him,
be
not the one
behind
with not the one with the rifle.
Yeah, but
It's all right, I'll
Sue-
pull the
Sue
trigger.
would be- I guarantee you, Sue would be the one behind the rifle, giving them a nice little push, going, "Ah, you shot you in the foot."
Or a wedgie. Hold on,
Or,
let me
you know,
do
Mark,
the wedgie.
if you want a less violent example, I could be the caddy if it's golf. I'm
I
carrying
was
the
thinking
clubs. I'm
about
like,
just
you think-
blowing his ear before he pulls the trigger.
It's like I think you could probably use a sand wedge here.
Get a
You're
little feather.
using a driver. Why are you using a driver? Oh my gosh, you used a driver. And it's on the green. How did you do that?
Oh my
That's-
God.
That's probably
Definitely
something you guys.
been some fun times. Really
Yeah.
fun times.
It's
What is out of curiosity? Just out of curiosity, Alex. What is a weakness that you actually have?
a weakness.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're getting
What's your
into.
kryptonite?
The three of us.
Uh, Well, if I told you I had to kill you, no, okay, never mind. I think a weakness about me is I don't like feeling vulnerable for too long. I mean, that's probably pretty natural for a lot of people, but that's where you'll notice I'm very when I'm talking to people, I get very excitable and very eccentric when it comes to a lot of these things, and it's most of the time, and at least initially, it was a defense mechanism initially, but I've actually used it as part of the personality now, and that's how I am now. Just bubbly and well, sometimes bubbly, sometimes it's more direct. There are times.
Oh my gosh. How about you, Amária?
With me? Shoot.
Yeah. Weakness. What's your kryptonite?
I think I've just always been one that's just loved people a lot. And because of that, it's made it easy for people to take advantage of me. or, hurt me in one way or another. I think I'm getting better. I'm less naive than I used to be. There's still things that some people can get just because I do have autism I'm on the autism spectrum. And so there are some things that every once in a while, but like I said, I'm getting better. I've done some detoxing. I've been working on healing my neurology. And so there's some improvement, but I think it's just, I really truly feel people. I'm a Heyoka empath, intuitive. And when people tell me their stories, or sometimes you don't even have to tell me, I can feel you and I'll scope you out and I'll find you in the crowd. But it's feeling, people's feelings, their emotions. And I've really had to step back and learn to separate myself from it. But I do love people, and when I feel people's emotion and their pain, I cry with people. I sit with people. I listen to them because I know what it feels like to be abandoned, to be thrown away, to be used and abused, and then just like, yeah, whatever, fuck you. And if I can be that one person to help somebody realize that, they're more than that, then, yeah, sometimes I might get stepped on and poked and whatever here and there. But I think in the end, I'm just hoping that I can be the best example that I can for others to know that, if I can do it, they can do it.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, what about you, Katie?
I care too much.
Hey,
I love that. I love that.
You're like me. We still have all these fucks to give. God damn it.
yeah.
Point blank, to the point. Yeah. No, I
Like
actually do
endless
take,
fucks.
I know a lot of people do take advantage of that. I'm also an academic robot, so I am extremely intelligent, and a lot of people really don't like that a lot about me. And it's just because I can come across as somebody who lives a life that everybody would like to live, or would like to achieve the things that I've achieved. But that for me, that didn't come without hard work and persistence to get where I've gotten right now.
You're
I mean,
kicking ass, girl.
yeah, and I mean, back in 2019, when I was in the midst of, you know, going through trauma, I had asserted myself, and I completed by the end of 2000. So, from when was it? From May 2019 to December 2019, I had completed 6 diplomas and 2 certifications.
That's so amazing that you've been able to do that. That's so inspirational.
And I evolved, and now look at me. I'm a PhD in psychology, something I'm really good at. Now I'm studying to become a professor in psychology to legitimately teach at an academic level. There's so many things that I haven't done yet, but I feel like I've completed a lot of things at a very, very early age, and I think a lot of people just kind of take note of that. Either they take inspiration and motivation, saying, this is something, maybe I can do this for myself, or they look at me and like, well, maybe I should just take her life and just copy it because I'm jealous or envious of the talents and gifts that she has. And I'm never that person. I'm completely humble with everything that I do, and I talk about myself a lot because it's my job. Outside of that, I'm pretty private, and I'm pretty quiet about the things that I do. I've got a lot of pride. I'm proud of who I became because I have come from a very, very traumatic background. But I mean, here I am, flaunting myself to the world. Something that a lot of people, I think, should rise up to the occasion. It's like the
Absolutely.
Phoenix rising from the ashes.
Instead of being afraid to shine, I love
it's like
that you do. You just let that light shine, and it's
now
beautiful.
Now is my time. And a lot of people who have one-on-one with me, who are around in my presence, the number one thing that they do feel. I mean, I have a lot of people come up to me and they just start conversations. They've already told me their entire life in the first 5 minutes of the conversation. Someone did that with me last night, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, yeah, just keep. And that's the fact. And what it is people feel comfortable. They feel comfortable. They feel trusted. They feel supported. They feel a kind of homeliness that they may have never experienced in their entire life. And all I am doing is just sitting here and being me. And that is all about, you know, I teach it a lot because I walk my walk and I talk my talk, you know, in becoming who I am. And that's a constant evolution. And I don't mean to be, I don't, it's not about me trying to say that I'm perfect. I'm not perfect. I don't know everything. I am the master of nothing. And so I choose to live that life. But what I gain from here on out is going to, who knows what I'm going to be when I'm 90 years old. And I hope to
Right.
be serving humanity by the time that, because what I do right now is going to impact a lot of people.
That is.
And I hope that that impact can be passed on from generation to generation to generation from all the people that I've touched. Because I know right now, you know, where I live, I'm also helping out the homeless people, and these are, and this is coming from someone that has nothing, who
Right.
literally has nothing, and yet here I am able to. I mean, I'm not financially like everybody else, but and that is purely the fact that I am an immigrant to this country. I'm building my life. And so, but I still have the ability to give, and that giving
Right.
is what, remember I said to you before about me dedicating my life to humanity, becoming a humanitarian. Even with nothing, you can still become a philanthropist.
Absolutely.
Wow.
It's
Awesome.
beautiful, Katie.
Yeah.
And I just
We
wanted
go
to
with-
say
mhm.
too, I just wanted to say too that on my other screen over here, I actually did pull up because I've been doing Soma Fusion since February, you know, Soma Fusion Media. The company started in May 2019, but we didn't start into radio until February this year. And would you believe, ladies and gents, that we have now broadcasted 329 shows since
That's
the
awesome.
Yay. That's
That is
awesome.
so
That's really
awesome.
awesome.
I think it's the
That's
4th of
great.
February,
Really awesome.
the 3rd or
Well, and
the
I
4th
love
of
that
February.
everything that you stand for, you know, with philanthropy, the service to others, which we all resonate with very much with the different belief systems that we've come together in. And that's why I love that even with like your savvy clothing that you
Yeah.
support with Soma Fusion, that, you know, it's not just some fluff, whatever frou-frou thing. You're actually, you know, it's for women, empowering women, all ages, all sizes, you know, belief systems,
know,
and just coming together in unity. And I'm like, I love that.
I preach
And
that a lot too, because I think that a lot of people they dwell too much on their flaws, their all of the imperfections that a person has, their traumas, their bodily imperfections, their you know, just their vanity. People dwell on that. People dwell on the negative things that people say, even though it's not about them, but it seems like people take a lot of things personal to heart. And I just tell people, you know what? If you want to be a unicorn, be a damn unicorn, because I don't care who you are, what you
Right.
contribute, and how
Exactly.
you say it
Yeah.
is what's going
Exactly.
to matter. If you can
I love that.
articulate, I mean, for somebody that can admit that they're imperfect and can articulate or express, I mean, everybody can, not everybody can be emotional about expression or tap into that emotional side. They want to go logical, which is fine. But I have seen so many people, you know, go down that logical path, and it becomes a sickness. It really does. It becomes a sickness, and because we need to know that we all can tap into that imagination, and that imagination is limitless.
It's amazing. I
That's
love that.
awesome.
Love that.
So,
And
what
I
is your
love how
weakness?
many people that it's able to touch with that, and how many people that you have touched, and how many people that you will touch, because it's going to be exponential, I'm sure, just with
You know
so many.
what? I went into this thinking that I'd only touch one person, because that's all I really cared about. But, you know, if I can touch a nation, so be it. You know, it's not about how many people I can touch. It's what I can do to impact
Right.
the lives that really need it.
Yeah,
Love
you get a
that.
chance to empower people and just, make someone's day even, a lot of your shows just help out, help, even for me to recenter and to refocus. So sometimes,
Right.
because we just have constant chaos and, even between me and the homeschooling and stuff. So,
So
it's
speaking of
just,
weaknesses and stuff, like Sue, because I don't accept visual impairment or audio impairment as a disability. So what is your weakness, Superwoman? Because that's not weaknesses to me.
what am my weakness? Well, I do love and care people very easily. That's a big thing. But if you want to go to raw stuff, let's go to raw stuff. Okay, sushi. You can almost bribe me with sushi. I have a huge sushi weekend. I have my big thing is on food. I was 5 years old when I shown interesting food and cooking and everything. I spent more time in the kitchen than anywhere else,
Mhm.
and that's why I took culinary arts because I wanted to study to be a chef. It was a big thing. It was a huge thing for me. I just love kitchen. I love working with food. I love experimenting different tastes and stuff because that's one of the senses I have that actually works. I didn't have sight, I didn't have hearing, but I had taste buds. My tongue works great. You know, my
I
tongue
love
works
it.
great in all areas. So
Mm.
and other areas as well. But
Funny. And that was
but
actually
but it's just that I love food. It's actually, and it caught up to me. I was one of these people that could literally eat whatever I want, how much I want, and I was one of those Asians until Big Pharma got a hold of me, and
Mm.
I started blowing up like a Goodyear blimp, and you could ride me over the city. But and it's just that I never stopped loving food though. So
Yeah.
it's just that I spent so much time with all kinds of dishes and creating dishes. So it was a thing that I have. So food has been a huge weakness. Another weakness, I don't know, just absolutely sense of humor and fun. I just love having fun.
Which I love.
I don't want to take everything too damn seriously. We all have our
Right.
jobs and we all have our lives and stuff, but it doesn't have to be mundane and boring. Like the
Exactly.
other day, I've had, it's when people shit on me, and stuff like that. You just gotta be able to kind of have fun with it. Like just recently, I need to cancel an appointment, and it's just that they have a $60 fee to cancel the appointment, especially if you cancel too soon. You need
That's
a
so
week in advance.
crazy.
So what I decided to do is I said, fine. I said I will reschedule the appointment then. I rescheduled it for 2 weeks later, called back 5 minutes later, and then canceled it.
That
So
was smart.
it's just I just have a thing about taking the system and putting it in a bag like a couple of weasels and shaking it. That's just the kind of person I am.
That's
So
brilliant.
I'm I'm very much the same way.
yeah,
Very much the same way.
I think we're
Uh,
all the black sheep type, or as I like to say, the lions and lionesses, because sheep
yeah.
are
it,
food.
it, no. I actually went to school for education, as many of you guys already know, and I was so disgusted by seeing what was happening within our school systems that I was like, "This isn't for me." Not saying it's not for anybody else. If they're calling to do so, go right ahead. It wasn't mine, and that's where that's where the self-teaching kind of came into it. When I'm like, we have this thing called the internet. Let's use this thing as the great resource it is.
Right.
And yeah, a lot of the stuff that is required is actually self-taught. So,
Awesome. So awesome.
Well,
well,
Alex,
that's cool. Is that what was that?
well, what do you say to people when they research things on the internet and you're like a truther movement, and they say, "Well, you can't believe everything on the internet." What's a good tip that you would tell people to divide whether the information is true or whether it's phony?
I think probably the best way when you're digging around is look for sources. what are your sources? Or as a very common thing that, within the meme community and like a non-communities will say is, where's your sauce? That's you want to know what's in that special sauce, because if you go into a lot of the kind of like the questionable facts-based places, they'll only refer to themselves. They won't refer to some other article or different place or something like that. It really, you got to check, double check, triple check, quadruple check things, because it is good. It is easy to fool somebody, but as Mark Twain so cynically explained it, it's easier to have a person fooled than to tell a person that they have been fooled.
Yeah.
And it's very easy. I mean, that's why you'll run into like a lot of people within the truth movement, or not even truth movement, just people who are researching things. They'll just get themselves just kind of like, this is something I will die. This is the mountain I will die on. And and every time you try to dismiss it, it's like, oh, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. I'm like, double check that and make sure that's actually accurate.
Right.
Because then you'll run into things like cognitive dissonance.
Yeah. And the biggest tip is like we have said on the show before, follow the money and follow the people.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Money.
I mean, especially everything is just run under symbolisms, and people are not believing in the whole symbolism thing. And that right there has triggered so many people. It's called conspiracy theory,
Symbolism, and also truth in plain sight. It's another big one.
Yeah.
Like, there is a saying. It's not so much of a saying, but it's actually like a fact, which is, in order for evil to do evil things, they have to first expose what they are doing before they can do it.
Right.
But in order
And
for
what is
that to
the reason
happen,
why?
I've never ever gotten a true, clear reason why.
I thought it had to do
know
with
that
karma.
Some people say karma, some people say universal laws, some people say cosmic law, some people say it's because it's just how the big bads act.
It could be, if you think of it like religious fanatics, and I'm going to go there. Everything that they do is about what their truth is, and they stick to it overzealously. And if they truly believe, with cosmic law that they've got to follow it, which thank God they do, they have to disclose that. And so I think they're still following their faith by doing that, which to them, they're like, oh, well, these people aren't saying no. So that means they're saying, okay, so I can do this because I like doing these things, but I still know there's these repercussions. But if they're giving me consent by silence, which is, I think, probably what a lot of these people or beings or whatever groups are that think, well, silence is consent, so we're going to take that. And I think that's where they're going with it.
I think so. I think there's a lot of silence and is consent is one. Another one is another way you can explain it is kind of like if you were in like a spy movie and you're dealing with like the evil villain in a spy movie. What is the one thing they do in every one of these like stereotypical movies? They tell you their master plan while they're monologuing.
Their ego, they want that.
Yeah.
It's almost a game to them.
They'll be like, it's like, hey, 007, we have captured you. Now let me give you this long soliloquy of what I'm going to do before I do it.
Yeah, this is why the good guy is tied up.
So the ego gets the best of them in the end.
Which is funny because it's not the ego. When you actually go into ego and super ego, it's not the ego that actually does those things. Ego is actually a correcting factor within the brain. True. I think it's actually the id that does a lot of things. That's more,
right.
The id is primitive. Is like your primitive reactions to things. Id is I forgot what ego is. I think it's more of like the this.
I think
this
it keeps us in check.
That's like your
right.
the voice in your head saying, I don't think that's smart, if you will.
Well, and I think so, yeah.
And then there's
what is it that I was listening to, talking about how a lot of us empaths or like intuitives, because we want to love so much that we just let people get off us. We're always like, oh, get off the ego, get out of the ego. But this talk, which, oh, I gotta find it again. They started talking about what if we balanced ourselves in the middle of that ego. And because the ego does keep us in check, that makes us be okay with saying, no, you're not going to step on me. You're not going to do that to me.
And then there's always that third thing that a lot of people don't talk about, because, everything's in threes nowadays, and it's been for a long time, but it's usually talked about as the id, the ego, and the superego. And the superego is a totally different concept outside those other two. I forgot what it was in the top of my head, what it was. I think it's supposed to be like it's like the counter to the ego, in the fact that the ego is, I don't think you should do that, where the superego is, let's do that. That looks fun.
Yeah. I have actually paranoia.
I think that's what it was.
I'm
not 100% sure on that. Don't quote me.
I must be run by a lot of super ego, because
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's not a good idea, but it looks fun, and I should do it anyway.
Yeah. With people, I have trouble with, trust. I have, sometimes I'm not sure. So I have fear and trust a lot of times.
Okay.
And that's things that I need to work on as well,
I was wrong. I just looked that up real quickly. Superego works to suppress the urges of the id and tries to make the ego behave in morality. That's what that's what it says. Yeah. Okay. So the superego is the morality.
So we should probably get into our super ego then, right?
I don't know. I'm not psych. Even though I took 3 psych courses in order to become an education, to become an associate in education, it was never my favorite topic. I was more of the electives type of guy. I enjoyed electives more than my main courses.
Electives are fun, dude. I don't blame you.
I took like 4. I took so many history courses that the dean that dealt with historical studies told me, you can't do anymore.
Wow.
That sucks when they do that, because I've had that happen on different music classes. You can't take anymore. What? Dude,
I'm not even. I wanted to. You're saying I can't get into African American studies? I really wanted to learn about all those different things. That was actually a course I wanted to take, was to do that, but I wasn't allowed to because I filled out the amount of allotments for my electives.
Dang it.
But luckily, I was able to do a business course and a poli-sci course, and we all know what happened when I did the poli-sci course. The rest is history on that one. But
nice.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So super cool stuff. That a lot of stuff I didn't know about you guys. That's really cool. It's been fun.
Nice.
Super fun.
Ethics.
Yeah. As all of us has grown up, and it's interesting how we eventually meet in life, and we all have our own stories. If we were to literally do a movie about all of us, it would be a long movie for starters. And second, if we actually did a movie about all of us, and it started off how we started off and how we ended up meeting, and had the awakening and then the movement and everything, and us trying to get messages out, words out, both politically and spiritually, and just be able to change the energies around how Earth is running, because it's been running on that same engine forever, and now we need to switch it over and change things. And that's one of the things that we all here is for the change, for the new.
Right.
So,
that's so awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Oh. Yeah, it's just a lot of stuff done.
For fun. Well, guys, this has been fun. Thank you so much again. I think maybe it's probably a good place to kind of wrap it up. And I know it's pretty late for Alex and Katie out east for you guys, and I probably should get over and feed my kiddos and myself. But
you should probably feed
them. You want to feed them because you don't want mutiny on your hands.
No hangry people.
An army marches on their stomach. Remember that.
Well, I've been a single mother, so I know what it's like to be outnumbered.
Oh yeah, it's all right. I still love my troops, even though I'm like, come on.
It's all right. I totally understand. I'm actually surrounded by testosterone, so I'm severely outnumbered here.
I think the only other females besides me are my hens. Even my dog's a male, and the stray cat that runs around here.
You're so lucky you got a dog. It's a vacuum cleaner on all fours.
I know, right? I'm like, oh, we still have to watch for like onions and raisins and chocolates, but you know.
I thought raisins
Right,
came
those-
out on the other end, but I don't know. What do I know? I don't own a dog.
Oh, you know,
I love dogs and
awesome.
cats, you know, but I don't own them.
Love the critters. Love the critters. Well, guys, it's been fun for the 50th anniversary. Thank you so much,
Woo!
Dr. Katie Carmara, for joining us
Yeah,
and
awesome.
Your
for
entire
being there
Thank you.
for us and just making this a legacy with what you do with everybody's shows. It's amazing. We love you very much.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
And
Thank you,
and
thank
I
you, thank
hope
you.
that you guys come back in 2022 with some bigger and better shows the next 50.
Yeah,
Heck
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Total.
You know what we gotta do? We gotta get together for New Year's Eve. Just
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
that'd be a good
Yes, we
idea.
should so do a New Year's Eve show.
Yeah. We
Be
should
fun.
yeah,
Kind of like we did
absolutely.
last
That'd be
year.
fun.
That was a blast. Do a
Yeah,
countdown
that's
and
fun.
everything. We should do
Did we
it.
do that last year?
Yeah, well, it was with Global Enlightenment
Oh
Network.
yeah, it was with good. Yeah, but that was with me.
You were there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was there
Yeah.
because I was hosting it.
Are we allowed to
You
drink?
gotta do it again.
Are we allowed
Yeah.
to drink?
I'm
Yes,
bringing
we
a beer.
Do you know that I actually put the kids to bed and I say I'm sitting there talking and I'm getting all bored and shit and I'm like, yeah, okay. So I started drinking more and I was drunk. Because what happens during the New Year's? So if anyone doesn't know, for the last, well, actually since 2017, I've been doing New Year's Eve shows.
Love it.
The first New Year's Eve show that I did was Four Drunk Broads, and I might, if I can find the audio for it, I will send it over to you guys because we were literally four drunk broads plastered. I think one of the girls, lucky it wasn't on video, it was just pure radio because one of the girls had so much Jaeger bombs that she was, or was it Fireball? I
snap.
can't remember. She was undressing. I mean, this was radio, but we could see what each other was doing. So one person was having fireballs. God love her because I love her to
snap.
death. One of my sisters. She was undressing. The other woman, she was up in Canada. She was sitting there on the screen, totally just flunked out, like this, talking. Yeah, I'm here, and she was sleeping the whole time. And then there was me. I was just in on it. I actually do remember that first night because I spilt a whole glass of red wine over my mixer, and I'm like, "What the hell did I just do?" But the tradition is that that we celebrate. We start about 11:30. So if we do it this year, it's going to be at 11:30, and then we continue until the last clock strike of the last time zone in the United States.
Wow, that's awesome.
It was really fun last year. It was really
Yeah.
fun, and I'll even wear my onesie pajamas again because they're fun.
Yeah. You had your warrior, Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah, I had my my Wonder Woman.
Yeah, the Wonder Woman.
crown
I
on.
had a princess tiara. I've got
Right.
it somewhere here. It
Oh
was
shoot,
stashed
I'll
away.
wear my crown again. Hell yeah, we got my
Yeah,
warrior
we can-
crown.
Hey Alex, what are you gonna wear?
There we go.
But here you go,
Love
Sue.
you
This would be
so
a
much,
perfect
guys.
time for you
Thank
to do
you
it.
so much again.
Thank you. I
And
will.
I'm excited for
Thank
that New Year's show. We'll rock and roll it,
Right.
yo.
Absolutely.
Lots of love.